everyone for coming today. My name is Christy Knowles. I'm the sheriff for Ozaukee County. I got Dr. Trimberger here with me. He's a district administrator for the Random Lake School District. And we're gonna get into the incident that occurred this morning about 7:20 a.m. We had a school bus crash versus a Jeep Grand Cherokee. The school bus was northbound on County Highway E, and the Jeep was eastbound on J Road in the town of Fredonia. As the bus crested the hill and came to the intersection, the Jeep proceeded through the intersection without stopping. Struck the bus, hit the bus, kind of the center of the bus, pushed it onto its side, and the bus spun and ended up in the northwest ditch line off of County Highway E. There were 36 students on the bus, plus the bus driver. Ages of the students ranged from elementary school to high school. 8 students were transported by ambulance to area hospitals, including Children's Hospital. The students who were able to exit the bus did so through the rear emergency exit, as well as the roof emergency exit. Several of the students were removed by deputies and medical personnel on the scene. The student injuries ranged from minor injuries to serious, but none of them were life-threatening. The bus driver, the driver of the Jeep, as well as the passenger of the Jeep, had minor injuries. All of them were transported to the hospital. The driver of the Jeep, her name is Becca Stevenson from West Bend. She is at fault for the accident, and she will be issued a citation for failure to yield right away from the stop sign. There is no indication of any criminal violations in this crash, only ordinance violations. Ms. Stevenson is cooperating with the investigation fully. The Random Lake School District assisted immediately on the scene with identification of the students and parents, as well as unification of the students and the parents. Students who did not appear injured were released to their parents, and some of those parents elected to take their children to local hospitals. I want to thank the Random Lake School District Administrator, Dr. Mike Trimberger, and his staff for their professionalism during this stressful incident. It is not easy seeing children injured, scared, and unaware of what is going on. It was a true team effort to assure those students who were on the bus that everything was going to be okay. I also want to thank the numerous police and fire departments that were out at the scene. They came from Ozaukee County, Washington County, and Sheboygan counties. They helped with patient care, triaging, transporting, investigating, and scene management. A scene of this magnitude is chaotic, but when there is good teamwork, things are done professionally and efficiently, as were in this case. To all drivers, it is our responsibility to make sure we arrive to our destinations safely. That means rules of the road need to be followed. Slow down and stop at stop signs. When it comes to school buses, if the lights are flashing, you need to slow down. If the lights are flashing and the stop arm are out, vehicles in both directions must stop for the school buses. All types of weather conditions can have an effect on driving as well, including the sun, which was in this case. If you cannot see the road, you should not be traveling the speed limit. Slow down. Please be patient and give yourself extra time. This crash was preventable. Dr. Trimberger?
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Mike Trimberger, school superintendent here for the School District Random Lake. And before I start about the school's response, I just want to thank Sheriff Knowles, Under Sheriff Herman, the entire Ozaukee County Sheriff's Department, and the nearly 20 different agencies that showed up. By the time I was able to get on site, there had to be 60 adults helping our kids. And although it was chaotic, it was organized chaos. We had a system in place by that time, getting our students to parents. I think the parents that showed up quickly, it really is a testament to a whole community when something like this happens, and we're able to navigate it the way we did. Since this event, we have taken time to reach out to all the families. As you can imagine, the students on the bus, this was quite the traumatic event. And as a district, we're responding in multiple levels. First and foremost, please give prayers to all of our students that have been or are currently in the hospital. We're thankful, and I feel like it's a blessing to say that everybody's stable. We have some broken bones, we have some bumps and bruises, and we have some physical things that at this time looks like they will heal. But from there, it's really about the emotional piece, being on a bus and having this happen. I also need to thank the outpouring of support that we have locally. I always feel fortunate in this area. The school districts, mental health agencies that have reached out, it may take me a week to respond to everyone, but with the help from our pupil services team and our admin team, we have a plan in place that we're going to be speaking to our students on the bus right away tomorrow. Parents know how we're going to do this. We're going to do an elementary, a middle, and a high school group session to make sure our students know that this is a safe place, that buses are safe, that even when this happens, we can have good things happen from that. From there, professionals from Mental Health America, United Way, and our own staff will be working with individual families and our students to make sure that we have those things we needed going forward. We're not sure what might trigger us tomorrow, Tuesday, the rest of this week, or going forward, but I am very thankful to everyone that has plans in place to make sure that we're set for anything that happens going forward. So with that, we open it up for any questions that you have for Sheriff Knowles or myself.
Sheriff, thank you. WISN 12 News. I wanted to know, first of all, how are these students doing? Have you guys talked with them? And then also, how many additional students were brought to the hospital after this crash?
We don't have exact numbers because some of our students were released to parents and then they went to walk-in clinics, to ERs, things like that. So we do have numerous students that are still in the hospital, and most of them have been released at this time.
Speaking for the sheriff, you mentioned the sun was a possible factor. Are there any other additional factors as well as distracted driving that you're looking at? And if the sun is the primary factor, has there been conversation before about having additional signage approaching that intersection so, you know, at that time of morning, the driver going eastbound would have a better chance to know that the stop sign's approaching?
That is a problematic intersection in our county. So we've had different and previous crashes at that intersection. During that time of day, yes, the sun is an issue. So that's something on my end I need to talk to Traffic Safety Committee about. It was not distracted driving. Like I said, the driver is cooperating with the investigation. She let us use her phone and search her phone. There's no indication that calls were made, text messages were sent, nothing to that nature. She did state that her windows were fogging up and there was a light fog, and in that particular area where it's lower to the ground, a rural area, farm fields, there was fog in that area even up to 30 to 45 minutes after the crash occurred.
Sheriff, do you know approximately how many crashes have happened at that intersection, since you do say that it is a problematic intersection in the county?
It's not a highly traveled because it's rural. I would have to get that number for you. It's not going to be a high number because of less traffic in that area, but for the amount of traffic that goes through that area, there's too many crashes.
Was speed a factor at all?
We don't know at this time, so what we do is we're doing a crash investigation, a reconstruction of the crash, and with the black box and the measurements and what comes with that crash reconstruction, we'll be able to figure out how fast both vehicles were going.
And Sheriff, you mentioned that there was nothing criminal violations-wise, but you did say that there was ordinance violations.
Yes.
Can you explain to us what exactly that entails?
That's that failure to yield right away from a stop sign. So right now, everything that happened in that crash, that's what it's pointing to. There could be more, but until the investigation is complete, we won't know that.
Do we know the status of this driver? I know that you mentioned that this driver is cooperating with the investigation and whatnot, but what is the status of their driver's license? Do they have any previous history as far as driving goes?
She was valid, and I do not know the history.
From a school perspective, I can't imagine you have a ton of school buses in the community, so to lose a school bus, is that going to create additional challenges in a logistical sense in taking kids to and from school in the next few weeks?
So we have 7 bus routes that run every day. So being a rural school district, we bus nearly 40 to 50% of our students. So we do have an extra bus. We always prepare for situations like this. But actually, you know, one of the things is we have a bus driver who his actions during this incident were right there, heroic, was calm, got everybody out, but he won't be driving bus. And in this time right now of trying to find bus drivers, it's almost more critical, the human part of it, than the mechanical and the machinery part of it.
Do you know how long the students were inside the bus while it was tipped over before they were evacuated?
From the reports that I've gotten, that as soon as the bus came to a stop, Mr. Hall was up, he was calm, he was helping students calm themselves. In Random Lake, we have high school with elementary students, we all ride the bus together. So older kids were helping younger kids, and we were getting off. So we actually, it was almost immediately students were getting off. We had some more that were more critically hurt, and we had some people that showed up on the scene jump in the bus and start helping some of those students more seriously hurt.
And I'll add to that too then. When we had our first deputies arrive on scene, students were already outside the bus. So at that point, they were being separated to no injuries, to minor injuries. And that way, when medical personnel got on scene, we knew where to send them.
And Doctor, you had mentioned that you had broken bones. As far as some of the ranging of that injuries goes, can you just explain that a little bit better? Because I know that we did kind of have things sectioned off from minor injuries to more severe, but obviously not life-threatening.
I would say, you know, with an accident of this, you know, velocity and ferocity, it's bumps, bruises, and concussions, things like that we're dealing with.
Were there seatbelts on this bus? I know every bus is different.
No, there were no seatbelts on the bus.
Can you talk a little bit more about just the response to such a massive, so many people involved, and just you talk about the students helping each other, what that was like in those moments?
Yeah, you know, altogether there was probably close to 100 and some people at that intersection when you take the students, the adults, parents coming there. But again, I think with all of the different conversations, the different groups, the way it was differentiated between the students that needed to, I got to feel like it was a calm of let's make sure we get who needs to be done. We had some of our counselors and school psychologists were some of the first there, being the friendly faces to make sure our students knew that there's school people there. We're calming students as we're trying to find parents. We have community members coming in asking what we could do, picking up parents that couldn't get there to come back. It's what you do in a situation like this is everybody throws in, everybody gets in and does whatever you can to make sure that our kids feel safe and feel like they have adults that they can trust in a time that it's a pretty scary moment.
And then from a law enforcement perspective, we train this way. We're in a smaller county, so we train with the local police departments, we train with the local fire departments. Fire departments train with the out-of-county fire departments, so when we get on scene and there's one person in charge or one agency in charge, they start directing what is needed, and it all comes together.
Doctor, quick follow-up question for you, just knowing that the sheriff had mentioned that this is a problematic intersection, maybe not even because of distracted driving, but so many other factors. As a school district, are you guys reconsidering your bus routes at that intersection, given that something of this magnitude has happened, or potentially pushing for change into the future?
So I think there's two folds to that. I think most immediately, we actually, after we're done here, we're meeting with our bus drivers to just decompress from this. There's a lot that goes in. It's one of our friends. It's students that we know. So yes, we're going to have a conversation about let's take a second look on where we're going, right? This intersection, again, you drive by 99% of the time, there's nobody there, but this is that 1%. And in our community, that intersection is known at a certain time of not being able to catch the stop sign because of the sun. I personally missed that my first year here. So one of the things here in our conversations is I'm going to try to help as much as I can to get rumble strips put in, especially on the eastbound, if not the westbound, because we have similar issues as we head west at the end of the day. So that'll be something that I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, it's a blessing, right? An incident like this could have a lot worse consequences than what we're sitting right now. And if we can use this to make some good around that intersection and honestly make everyone aware, our kids are on these buses, right? We have people who are trying to get to school. We want to get safe. We have reports of people not stopping to stop signs when they're out. We have people going around buses trying to get to work. You know what? It doesn't matter if you're late for work, if you don't get there because of an accident. Incidents like this wreck weeks, wreck lives. So let's slow down. It's pretty easy to just wait a minute, wait for that student to get on the bus, and we're probably turning a corner and you can get off to work. Thank you.
With the situation with the possible driver shortage, losing one of your drivers, are there plans right now do you have someone you can lean on to kind of place around for the time being?
Just another blessing of our community. Northern Ozaki School District already reached out and said, hey, we have a driver for you, let's help you, and go from there. So again, we're all pitching in, trying to help out where we can. It's almost too hard to thank everyone that reached out. Right after I leave tonight, I probably have 100 text and voicemails to get back to everyone that has reached out. So it's a pretty cool testament of what we have in our area here.
And just to add on to what Doctor said, we had a nurse returning from her night shift. We don't even have a name. She came, she triaged, she got in with the deputies and started triaging the patients at that point, and then left without telling a name. So and she lives in the area that we're finding out. So it's that type of community that we live in, that people just stop and lend a hand.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all coming.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.